Alrighty, happy Friday. Hopefully everybody has a great start to their weekend already, as it's already a Friday night. Um, as I'm recording this right now. So simple trade recap as of this morning. You know, today's date is September 12th, Friday again. Right now it's about 8:30 p.m. PST, you know, LA time. But anyways, what did I see, right? So each of these candles are in increments of 15 minutes. Again, we're over here looking at NAS 100. And what do we see, right? So this is right before the market. This is actually from 6 o'clock to 6:15, again, AM, morning time. So, once we press the next candle, obviously it's gonna look a little bit more self-explanatory, but I want to kind of rewind things a bit just to kind of show exactly what I was thinking, right? So we had came up here, and I was looking at the wicks, came back down, came up, came back down, came up, came down, came up again. Ideally I wanted to see it hold support over here, right? Again, it seemed like we climbed back up and dropped. All right, so we climbed back up, saw a double top here, and it came back down. And then when it came back up, I wanted to see it hold basically support right here. And granted, we also had support right here, right? So let me clear everything up, just so now I got the visual. I wanted it to basically see it hold support right here, right? I actually thought this would be a great support. And then this bottom line, so I want to see it basically bounce on top of this zone, and the bottom line basically indicates where my stop loss would be, right? And everything that in that box, basically between the top from bottom line, the way I trade is basically fair game, meaning that that's where price could, kind of wiggle, right? That's kind of like the gray area in my box, and I need to be patient. Anything below this bottom line is basically that be considered as a loss, right? So next candle 6:15 to 6:30, just right before New York opening session. It actually seemed like on multiple accounts we were bouncing right on top of this limit line, and then when I had pressed buy plus a spread, I had already got triggered on top, right? So it's kind of weird because as you can imagine, I was in drawdown, but it was in drawdown for 3 to 5 points the whole. I got in basically at 6:17 a.m. So I was in drawdown for 12 minutes. Excuse me. I was in drawdown for about 12 minutes, even if it was so slight, and then all of a sudden she just tanked. I was holding my cursor on top of that X, right, where basically I trade on a different broker. So obviously not just trading view is just a charting platform, right? So on my web trader, where I actively manage my trades, again, a live account, a cash account, I was actively holding my cursor on top of that X, really thinking I got to close it out, right? Now, but at the same time, I was just looking at it. I was like, we're at all-time highs. Just looking at it, I was like, there's no way we're gonna tank this, right? No way. And then look what happened. So that's the next candle, basically the New York opening session candle. Ideally, anything above this, I want to take profit, right? Basically above this wick. Now that's basically right where my entry is, and I got filled. She shot up basically 10 points, 12 points above my entry, and then she came back down. I was in drawdown again. She was holding really close to actually where I was holding my. It was slightly below my entry, but above my little zone that I had marked as support, right? So it was a little bit right before this, or between the zone. I did get a 2-point, 3-point drawdown again. Again, it was just looking odd. She gave that second pump, the second strike back up. I thought I was really being optimistic that we can strike it, that we can just shoot above. I really did think we could just shoot for all this, to be honest. I was expecting anything crazy. That's why as soon as we that's kind of like how you have to play all-time highs, right? When we have nothing to look back at, you always have to understand that you have to trail your stop loss, which is what I did. I trailed my stop loss. So as soon as we went above this, went above my entry by like 4 or 5 points, I just trailed my stop loss, and I kept dragging it. And then at one point, I dragged it over here. I was up 11 points, and next thing you know, I got stopped out. Basically, 11 points for me is just break even. But it's been a great week. With my trades, green this week. I've been green on this whole new small account flip since last Thursday. So even if it's small gains, even if it's break even, I mean, even if it's just me sticking to my rules, right? So really happy. Not so much for today. If we were just to rewind back, I really did think we would bounce right here at the top, right? So I was expecting 20-30 points from basically the top of this purple zone, and to see that I was 11 points in drawdown, and I got out at, again, 11 points in profit, which was just a 1-to-1 risk to reward ratio, which is, I don't care who says what, but that's pretty bad, right? You want to at least go for a 2.5-to-1, 3-to-1. That's not like it's going to be possible every single time. Sometimes you can get 5-to-1. It just depends how tight your stop loss is and how big you let your runners go. Today I didn't really have much of a chance, and now when I was thinking that she's going to tank, I played it very scared, right? So at one point, if I just delete all this, at one point, after we came back, after the second strike, the second leg to the upside, we're back in this zone right here where I was hoping to be support. It kind of looked like it turned into resistance, right? Well, more so specifically right here, it looked like this ended up playing resistance. And just kind of look at what had happened, right? So and then at one point I was also looking, if we just zoom out a bit, make it like that. At one point this looked like a perfect zone. That kind of hurt, but at the same time we just shot up. So I played a lot of things being on the shy side today, and it is what it is. I mean, and I ended up basically banking on 11 points profit. I did have kind of an odd feeling as I was just preparing my trading view charts before I had even done my analysis. So I know many people this week, August as a whole month as a matter of fact, and coming into September, it's been rough. So take it easy on yourself. I definitely don't want to be hard on myself because I haven't really had a loss since last Thursday, right? So actually I've been green since last Wednesday, but last Thursday is when I started this account. So I've been green on this account since last Thursday. So I got enough to at least be grateful for. And again, I've been following my rules, right? So at one point I was so ready and I mentally had accepted this trade somehow. I didn't understand how, didn't understand when, but I don't want to analyze when I start panicking, because that's when I hold my losers longer than I hold my winners. And at that point I recognized it, and I was like, you know what, I'm getting emotional, I need to close this trade out, right? And I understood, I did the math, I was like $55 of a loss. That's the most I'm willing to take it, right? Plus the fee, whatever the commission fee would be on behalf of my broker. But then I got out for $57 in profit. So it happened. It is what it is. I understood the risk to reward. I understood how much I would take as if I lost. I understood how much I also made, and that I closed my trade because I knew I didn't have much space to work with. So instead of being greedy one way or the other, I completely just accepted it for what it was. So I'm grateful for that, to be honest. Now, a 10-minute video. I hope this makes sense to everybody. As always, guys, peace, love, and cheers. Thank you.